We've seen some global negative economic data. We've seen inflation much higher in Japan, much higher in the UK than expected. We've seen some bad economic news out of Germany. All of these different things kind of bringing us to wonder, are we headed towards a recession like some of the global data suggests? Or do we look at the domestic data, which has been strong? And a case in point was yesterday's home building, the housing data, as well as the other data that we got yesterday. So again, we got consumer confidence data yesterday, the housing data, both very, very strong. Now, this is the key that people don't understand. When you're looking at consumer confidence, you can track it virtually by what the stock market is doing. All right, so again, that's one of the keys that I want you guys to always remember. Consumer confidence, all right? Consumer confidence. I'm going to try to bring up a chart here for you guys, and bear with me as we look it up here. So if we look at consumer confidence, what we see is that it basically follows the trend of the stock market. Now, the reason why it's so important when it comes down to why it's following the stock market is because as people's 401ks go up, as their retirement, as their investing accounts go up, what do? They feel better about spending money. They feel more confident. They say, hey, listen, the economy must be doing better. So consumer confidence rises. So you have to take it with a grain of salt when consumer confidence numbers goes up, because again, if you look at the stock market, we've had a very nice run in the stock market.
There's no room for slacking when it comes to monetary policy tightening, Powell says, as Bitcoin takes a breather from yearly highs. Bitcoin staged another retest of $30,000 support on June 28 as the United States Federal Reserve stayed hawkish on inflation. This accompanied fresh comments on economic policy from Fed Chair Jerome Powell, speaking during a two-day discussion with other central bank heads at the European Central Bank Forum on Central Banking. 2023 in Sintra, Portugal, Powell reiterated Fed consensus for further interest rate hikes this year. Having paused the hiking cycle, which began in late 2021 this month, Powell nonetheless stressed that there was still room for further policy tightening. Really, the policy hasn't been restricted for very long, he said. We started at negative real interest rates. We've since moved up to where we are actually in the restrictive territory, but we haven't been there very long, so we believe there's more restriction coming. Hello and welcome to Money Talks. In today's video, we'll take a look at Gareth Soloway's analysis of Bitcoin and see if we're starting a new bull run market or not yet. So without further ado, let's get started with the video.
And what we see here on the Bitcoin chart is a direct relation with this pivot high here, which if we zoom out and we drag that line back even further, it actually shows us a level that was very, very important going all the way back to 2021. All right, so if we look at the bull run in 2021, we see very clearly that you had the breakout here, the retrace to the scene of the crime at 31,000 to 30,000, the big run to 65, the pullback to that same level, and the breakup, and then obviously here we consolidated and we broke down. So what we see here, if we just look at April 14th, which was a Friday, we touched that highest point. If we go over here, we've been hammering on that level. Now, in technical analysis, one of the keys to understand here is that basically you have a bullish consolidation pattern. So this is bullish right now, but this is the key. We're starting to get some weakness showing up today in Bitcoin. Bitcoin is now back to 30,000. What you want to see for a psychological basis is you want to see Bitcoin hold 30,000. If it doesn't hold on a daily closing basis, and I want to show you this, right? So if you look at this close right here, this close was at 30,000 and basically 30,010. The next day we closed back below, and then we made a strong close above. Since that close above, we have always stayed on a daily closing basis above 30,000. Now, when you go sideways, this is considered what we would, in technical analysis, view to be a bull flag. All right, so again, right now, this is safe. But the problem is that if you have a daily close back below 30,000, it starts making the stock chart, or in this case, the crypto chart, becomes much, much more vulnerable. All right. So that is something that we have to kind of monitor here in terms of whether or not we can get a breakout on Bitcoin, or if Bitcoin is going to start to lose out and start to head down. Now, the 30,000 level for Bitcoin is your first level of significance. Now, if we close below 30,000, it doesn't 100% negate the bull flag pattern or the in spirit of bull flag pattern. The reason why it doesn't negate it is because bull flags, okay, they are 45-degree angles to 90-degree angles, right? So basically, as long as you're in an angle here, okay, of about 45 to 90 degrees, you can be in the case, and I would probably move it up to about there for that. This can still be bullish consolidation.
Powell said that there was majority support for at least 2 further rate hikes going forward. Bitcoin appeared hesitant as a result, retracing the prior day's gains to shy away from a renewed attack on yearly highs at $31,000. Price bullishly explodes from the lows, takes a pause at the range high, and then continues to new yearly highs, popular trader CryptoCon wrote in part of a tweet. An accompanying chart demonstrated that BTC's price was in familiar territory on its way up. News that MicroStrategy had purchased more than 12,000 BTC for its corporate treasury, meanwhile, failed to have a tangible impact. Confirmed by CEO Michael Saylor, the company announced that it had added 12,333 BTCC, worth at the time $347 million, to its reserves, bringing its aggregate cost basis to $29,668 per BTC. According to Monitoring Resource Bitcoin Treasuries, MicroStrategy now owns almost 0.7% of the entire potential BTC supply. It also owns 10 times more than the second largest treasury, belonging to Voyager Digital, which owns 12,260 BTC.
But I do have a level I want us to watch very closely, all right? So we have 30,000 as number one. Number two is your secondary support at 29.5. 29.5 is this area right here, which again would be very, very important to me. Now, if we start breaking below 29.5, then you have to start talking about, is it going to even hold that 45-degree angle? My guess is it won't. And then we ultimately are headed down to this upsloping trend line right here at around 25.9 to 26,000. So if we look at the intraday chart on Bitcoin, Bitcoin again starting to cascade a little bit lower. On an intraday basis, we were just talking about that 30,000 level or give or take. Look at what we have right here. Look at all that level that I was talking about right at this level. So this is right below 30,000. Look at all that technical support. So again, the first thing you're watching for today, and I'm going to summarize. We're going to move on to the Ethereum chart. Then we're going to go to stock charts. I want to talk about yields. Yields also looking very interesting. But what I want us to kind of monitor here is on a daily closing basis. The only thing I want you thinking about today is, do we close below 30,000 on a daily closing basis or not? If we do, this chart becomes vulnerable to downside for Bitcoin. If it can stay above 30,000 on a daily close, then you are potentially in a much more bullish scenario for Bitcoin. All right, as long as you stay above 30, I would say there's a slightly higher probability to a breakout versus a breakdown. Not huge, but slight. All right, if you close below 30, it's the probability switch to slightly favoring downside. If we start getting below that 29.5, then the probability shift more and more towards the downside.
So, what's your price prediction for Bitcoin at the end of 2023? Tell us in the comments. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you soon with the next video. Thank you so much for watching.